I'm going to die on the hill that says Pope Francis saved millions and millions of lives by doing the consecration in 2022. Now, what Jesus told Sister Lucia in 1931 is that if the church, does not consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, that it could find itself in the same predicament as France. So there's implications there. And what happened, besides the royal family losing power, and again, that was in 1789, 4 years later, the king was executed in France. Also, 3 years after that began the rise of an antichrist figure named Napoleon. And from 1796 onward into the early 1800s, he ravaged not just France, but Europe itself. And he brought down France in its wake, the wake of his, I guess, megalomania of trying to conquer Europe and be an emperor of Europe. So if that happened to the church, then perhaps we would be looking at a real dissolution of the church, a real decline of the church, a real falling apart of the church. But in my opinion, and I know people disagree with me, but I believe that Pope Francis, he performed the consecration fully in 2022. And some say that that was already done by Pope John Paul II in 1984. And I believe that brought great blessings upon the world and the church, but I don't believe it was done perfectly. And I believe that Pope Francis performed the consecration perfectly.
Right.
Now, so you could look at it like, I know there's many people don't like Pope Francis, and you can call him a bad pope if you want, but you
can't take that away from him, can you? Like he did fulfill all the steps that were required by Our Lady. So there's no other pope that has actually fulfilled ticked every single step.
In doing so,
from your opinion, I agree with you as well. Yeah.
In doing so, he might have saved millions of lives. So you could look at it from that perspective. It doesn't matter if he's
part of the request was that all the bishops in the world had to join in as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was part of the request. So if a certain pope did do his obligation and the rest of the bishops around the world didn't participate, I'm not sure what way that works.
So what's important with something like that is not that every bishop goes along with it and actually does it. What's important is the intent of the Pope to invite everyone to participate in the consecration, all the bishops. And he did that. You're never going to get all the bishops to do anything. So regardless of what it is.
but regardless of this consecration, Bob, I know that the message that was given by Our Lady to Sister Lucia was that it will happen, but it will be too late. So regardless, it's already too late, and the errors of Russia have spread, and there are consequences. How would that play out in the church, do you think?
Well, it wasn't too late. So the specific words of Jesus to Sister Lucia was that it would be late, that we would do it, but it would be late. And he also said that the errors of Russia at that point would have already spread.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened. And Sister Lucia, she confirmed that after Pope John Paul II was shot in 1982, she came out and said that the consecration has not been done. And there was an attempt by Pope Pius XII to do it, but he didn't have all the bishops. And he kind of did it like behind closed doors, where he signed a decree. He put it in writing. He did mention Russia, but
Yeah.
even that had a benefit, because Jesus told Sister Lucia that the war was shortened because of that.
Mm.
So if that, just something like that, where it was done without many of the requirements in the consecration, could shorten a war,
Yeah.
I'm going to die on the hill that says Pope Francis saved millions and millions of lives by doing the consecration in 2022.
Okay.
Wait,
How-
what year did Russia invade Ukraine?
2022. He did it right after the invasion.
That's right.
After the
That's
invasion.
right. Yeah.
He did
That's
it at
right.
the request of Ukrainian bishops. So
That's
That's what it
true.
was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Mm.
even perhaps the intent was not the best of intent. So he did it for the purposes of ecumenism, ecclesiality with the bishops of Ukraine. It should have been done because heaven asked for it to be done. But he did it notwithstanding. The consecration, the tie-in that Jesus gave Sister Lucia was that it would be very similar to what happened with the kings of France. Their lineage was stopped. The royal family lost its power. King was executed. Very dire implications and circumstances came out of this refusal to do the consecration. So my suspicion is that, and it's one that's been part of prophecy and apparitions of our Blessed Mother, about world wars, about another world war, World War III. Now, some could argue we're already in World War III because we had 1 million people dead in Ukraine. But that could be a lot more, especially with the weaponry that we have today.
Our Lady has asked for different things like the consecration of Russia, and I think it's been attempted 5 times collectively with different popes. I haven't got the dates here at hand, but I think it's been attempted 4 or 5 times at least for the consecration. Whether it has been done completely and fully, only I think only God really knows. The way I look at it, you'll know them by their fruits. Our Lady did say one of the signs of the consecration being fulfilled, that there would be peace. You know, Russia would come back to the faith, but that hasn't happened yet. And coupled with that too as well, another thing that Our Lady said that the Pope and Garbandal, that the Pope has to go to Russia, and once the Pope returns from Russia, that then all hell will break loose. So that still has to happen too as well. But has the Church fulfilled everything that Our Lady has requested? Absolutely not, because we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now. With it, there would be peace, and the world wouldn't be in the turmoil and on the brink of World War III.
Right.
And what we've seen happen there with Russia too as well is really a fulfillment of all the prophecies from a lot of the saints, seers, mystics, approved saints and doctors of the Church. Even like, Marie Julie Gianni, Bob, as you know, has went into great depth on how Russia is going to come down through Europe, and there's going to be blood in the Rhine, the Tiber, and blood in Spain. So Russia is going to, what you're seeing now, Russia and with Ukraine, I'm expecting to go into either Belarus or Poland and come down through Europe. Like that, these are all prophecies which have to be filled. When it's not only fulfilling private revelation, but it's also fulfilling prophecies from biblical prophecies too as well. So I think Russia and China are definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, going to come together, and they are going to push together at the same time.
So there's other prophecies about Russia invading Europe besides Marie Julie Johanni. One is Garabandal spoke about Russia. Also, Blessed Elena Aiello, also that I mentioned previously, mentioned this as well. Now, it's kind of difficult when you talk about prophecy because some of these chastisements are always conditional. There's always the if-then kind of component of these chastisement prophecies. So I think what we've seen today, especially when you talk about an invasion of Russia into Europe, a lot of these prophecies, they depicted a 1990s type of warfare, where you have armies, large armies that are going from one place to another. That is not the case today. Today, you're fighting warfare. You're fighting wars electronically, missiles, primarily drones. You can't amass a large population of military personnel without them being destroyed. So the reason why I bring that up is I think that prophecy has been mitigated. So it's been postponed. And it's been postponed because of the 1984 entrustment or consecration, if you want to call it that, by Pope John Paul II. Also regarding peace and regarding the effect of these consecrations. It took 7 years after the 1984 consecration for there to be a visible effect in the Soviet Union, where you saw the dissolution of the Soviet Union occur as if it were magic in 1991. So it doesn't happen overnight. So I would suggest maybe in the next few years, you're going to see signs of it. And we're already seeing signs in Russia that they've converted to the Orthodox faith. And they've...
That's a good point.